I love your denim on denim. Very nice.
Thank you.
Yes. How are y'all doing? You have to be tired. You have is it a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old?
Yes, I have a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old.
Are you okay?
Well, I feel like the second the 6-month-old started sleeping, then the 3-year-old was like, Ursula's under my bed at 2 a.m. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh,
you know what's
Ursula.
weird? My kids loved Ursula. That was their favorite character. Really weird foreshadowing, I know. But yeah, that's their favorite character. Is
She's
Ursula.
the diva of the piece.
Yeah, they love the song.
Yes.
She got the best song.
Yeah, she's the belter.
Yeah, that is true. Well, you've been acting since you were so young. How has it changed for you, like, over time? Did you have a good experience when you...
Yeah, I mean, I started acting when I was 5, and it was just fun. Like, I was a kid, it was just fun. And I remember when I was 18, that was sort of the first time that I was introduced to Hollywood, because before that, it was just acting. It was just storytelling. It was just being on a film set or auditioning and not being able to be on a film set. And
was that easy as a kid? That's what I mean, like getting those rejections or that you didn't make it?
No, because I was just like, I wasn't right for it. It's okay. Like, I mean, the thing
You're like
is,
a well-adjusted
so
kid.
mature.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I had great parents, who were like, it's not, you can't take it personally. And I think it did teach me to not be very offended as an adult, which is a nice trait to have. But as a little girl, I was like, okay, if I get told no 1,000 times and then I get one yes, it means that I might get told no another 1,000 times, but I will get the next yes. And that felt like an important thing. And to be an actor, I had to do 3 things. I had to stay the person they knew I was. I had to stay good in school, which I feel like are very kind of important basic things. But the third one was they were like, you have to have fun. And if you stop having fun, you're not allowed to act anymore.
Yeah.
And I loved that that was the most important rule to them, that their kid was enjoying what I was choosing to do and that it wasn't just like a grind, and I didn't lose my childhood because of it.
Yeah. Oh, way to go, parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're pretty special.
I have to bring this up because you're about to make your Broadway debut. Is that right?
I am.
Wait, what is it? It's called Cult of Love Musical Elements?
Yes, there are musical elements. It's a play.
Oh, is it called Cult of Love?
It's called Cult of Love.
Oh, someone said it was called Cult of Love
Musical
colon musical elements, and I was like, they are a very specific cult. I was like, all right.
I love that spin. Actually.
That is literally what was told to me. I was like, it's not out yet, so we don't know. But yeah,
that's
so it's called
Trap Children.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, and they sing and dance about being in a cult. No, but so you're like, well,
I mean, there's some truth to that.
Yeah. Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. We're in rehearsals right now, and I come to work every day, and I'm in awe of the people that I get this opportunity to work with, and I'm learning so much, and also just having so much fun.
Yeah, that's got to be cool too. If like you're changing it up, like breaking up the monotony as an artist is important to me. Like, you've never done this thing before, so it's like fun. Like doing something. I love that. Well, speaking of music, do you both have like a most memorable concert or like thing you went to that kind of changed you?
My first concert I ever went to was the Spice Girls. I was in 5th grade.
Yes.
Give it up for the Spice Girls.
Which one did you like best?
I loved Posh because I was sort of a sullen child. So I was like, I relate to her lack of joy. But I was completely sobbing. Yeah.
Oh, that's so
magical.
fun. What was one of yours that you loved?
Well, my first memorable concert was Celine Dion.
That's one of mine. Yeah. Oh, Las Vegas. It was in
during her residency.
Yes.
Yeah, my mom took me. I was 13, and I remember being in awe.
Yeah.
I was just like, but also Titanic. I mean, that was my introduction to Celine Dion. My Heart Will Go On, and to see her sing that song as a 13-year-old, and then learn about the rest of her music through that concert, I was like, oh wow, what is art?
No,
what is this?
It's so funny because I'm older than you, but I saw the My Heart Will Go On. I saw that tour because one of my friends had an extra ticket, and we were we needed binoculars to see it, but
you could hear it.
But I kept thinking during that song, I was like, how many sets of lungs does she have? Like, I was like, and I would practice in my room. I was like 13, and I would try so hard, like I was like, she's just an incredible vocalist. It was so inspiring.
But probably you singing along to it at that concert, even in the grass seats, the Celine Dion must have been like, there's an incredible singer on the grass.
But anyway, hard work pays off. We need to do a few commercials. But first, let's check in at Bryant Park to see who's sitting in the city seats. Hi, what's your name?
Hi, Kelly. I'm Melissa from Long Island, and when I heard you were having Shailene and Betty on the couch today, I knew I had to sit down and watch the show because 2 of my favorite books were made into movies by Shailene. And this setup is awesome, and I'm so excited to be one of the first people to sit in your new city seats.
All right, so Melissa, what Starbucks holiday beverage are you enjoying?
I'm drinking the caramel brulee latte today. It's my favorite this time of year.
Okay, fancy. Okay, well, do you mind taking us to break, Melissa?
Sure, not a problem. I've loved Shailene ever since I saw her in The Secret Life of the American Teenager, and I've loved Betty ever since I've seen her in Glow. It's really great to see 2 actresses portray strong women on and off the screen. Stay here. Kelly has more with Shailene and Betty right after this.
We are back with Shailene Woodley and Betty Gilpin. That was a look at their new Starz series, 3 Women, which is based on the book of the same name. I love that you're laughing. I'm like, that is intense.
Well, we're laughing because we really love each other a lot.
Yeah. Well, people that love each other actually can have those conversations.
That's right.
Which is true. When did y'all first meet? Did you know each other before the series?
No, and we filmed this, God, 3 years ago, so it was still pretty, I know. Yeah, my daughter was like just under 1.
Amazing. How long?
Yeah, it was still kind of the height of the pandemic, sort of, so we met each other on Zoom first, and then I remember meeting you in person for the first time, like the clouds parting, and in walks this movie star. But I would say you guys have something in common in that, like, the second you say a line and the second you sing a line, it's like your shoulders just go down as an audience member. You're like, I'm going to be taken care of by someone who is so good at what they do. And you just feel very relaxed in their presence. And that was my first impression.
That's so nice.
My first impression from Betty was on Zoom, and I just remember her face popping up, you know, like the bubbles of everyone's face popping up because it was a massive group Zoom. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be a problem. Like, I'm gonna just fall so in love with this person. Like, it just, from the moment, it was the same feeling for me. The moment I saw you, I was like, my life will not be the same. It's hard to explain. Like, it was just this feeling. And then she started acting, and I was like, well, that's also the best actress that has ever walked the face of this earth.
That's so nice.
That's an amazing feeling, though, connecting with someone like that.
Yeah. Well, I also remember it was like a Respect in the Workplace Zoom or something, and I was alone with my almost 1-year-old, and I was like, I'll just give her some things to do in the background. And then in the Zoom, I was like, she's taking apart a box of tampons, and like she's like had 10 tampons flying in the air.
Respect. Remember to keep personal lives at home, folks.
Yeah.
Like talking on the, everyone gets nervous in those meetings.
Yeah.
So explain the women you play in the story and why you loved reading about them. Like, and did you connect to any of them?
Yeah, I play, so the series is based on the book 3 Women by Lisa Taddeo, who you'll meet soon. And it's about 3 real women that she interviewed about their lives and love and sex lives. And I play Lena, who is a mom in suburban Indiana and is in sort of a loveless, sexless marriage and finds it elsewhere, and kind of her life sort of explodes into Technicolor as a result. And yeah, I loved playing this part. And you played the author.
And I played the author, Lisa Taddeo, a version of the author, Lisa Taddeo, who wrote the book 3 Women and also wrote the series. And it was an interesting experience to play her because she was on set every day. And there was something very special about the way that Lisa granted me permission to create a character that was entirely different than who she was, and yet the path that Gia walked in the series was a very similar path to the one that is historically true for Lisa.
Yeah, so most people, I mean, if you're already playing like a real person, there's a weight to that, and then the person's in the room, like while you're...
Right.
Yeah, that's another weight.
Yeah, that's another level of nervousness, but you felt very comfortable with her?
I think if it had been anyone apart from Lisa, it would have been very nerve-wracking and very intimidating, but Lisa, there's a warmth and a curiosity to her, which I think is why she's so brilliant at what she does. She's a searcher. Like, she's constantly asking questions and searching and trying to understand the why, beyond the why. And that energy allowed me to play with the curiosity of this character instead of feeling like I had to fill a certain specific identity.
And stick to that wholly, yeah. So like the author, you've traveled around a bit, right? And you love that. Like as an artist, you love, I know, but it's kind of funny because that's, I feel like, what she did, the author did. And, you know, kind of followed these 3 women's lives. Like, how do you connect? Why do you like that as an artist? To make sure you're outside yourself, or?
No, I mean, I think it kind of started accidentally. I was 19, and I had just done this film called The Descendants, and it was around the time that I was being told you should look a certain way and maybe lose some weight or gain some weight or change the way you look. Like, all of the Hollywood.
Can't hear that enough.
The machine of Hollywood kind of started echoing in my ears, and I was like, ooh, this does not feel real, and this doesn't feel like anything that's serving my soul. And so I started volunteering on farms and lived in tents, and I loved it, and I got to meet the most interesting people, and that sort of
probably learned some really cool skills too.
Incredible skills. And I just kind of got to see the world through the lens of a searcher, of somebody that was asking a lot of questions and trying to understand myself through people around me and environments around me. And now on the other side of it, I'm like, wow, I have all of this amazing material to pull from as an artist moving forward with different characters or stories that I want to tell. And it was sort of an accidental bonus to just a young person who was confused and didn't know her place in the world and decided to look for it. I also think it's
brilliant, just in general, like regardless if you use it for, it's a brilliant way. We only get one life. Like, why not talk to as many people as you can and
the most gorgeous farmhand in the history of agriculture.
I would love that. I have a ranch, so I love learning skills like that. 3 Women is now on Starz. The series is based on a book, and we have the author joining us right now. Everybody say hello to Lisa Taddeo. Welcome to the show. I want your cute haircut. It's so adorable.
Thank you.
Yes, it's so great. Welcome to the show. So you spent 8 years and just thousands of hours following 3 women.
Yes.
Like, how did you decide, first of all, on those 3, and what inspired you about them?
Well, what inspired me for the book was that I had been reading books about all my whole life about the way that, you know, men had sex and the way that men saw that women were feeling about sex. And I was like, well, would it be different if a woman wrote about how women feel about sex? So that was the sort of genesis for that. And then the finding of the women, the first thing I did was move to Indiana, where I found the woman that Betty Gilpin plays, Lena, who was in a loveless marriage and wanted to rekindle it. So the women I chose really were the ones who chose me because they gave me the most of their lives. And that's the thing with Lena, the first woman that I met. I had more in common with this woman from an utterly different background with utterly different predilections and what she did in her day. I had more in common with her than I did with many of my friends who were living, you know, next to me, and we were experiencing the same things. And that was something I wanted to communicate to as many people as I could, that we are all the same across many lines of code and all of our different, you know, everything. We all just want to be seen and cared about.
Yeah, loved, connection. What is that kind of what your hope is for, like, now that you've finished this book, you've put it out there, and now there's this series that everybody's able to, you know, have tangible access to in their households. Like, what do you hope they get from it?
I hope that it opens up more women to the possibility of telling our stories and feeling seen. And I think that the way that just these women, but every single actor, director, everybody who worked on that show, I think had the desire to communicate that it was okay to be open about what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys hope that people get from it, especially your characters?
I think something that drew me to Lisa's book when I read it long before I knew it was going to be a TV show was Lisa writes so beautifully about the moments that women have that we all think we're the only people feeling that way or having that moment, like alone in the car or in the bathroom mirror, making eye contact with yourself, or, you know, the moments alone before a big event or something, or afterwards, or in the quiet
marriage.
when your kid is falling asleep next to you. You're sort of just alone with your own thoughts and thinking about the person you dream of being, or a thing you hate that you said that day, or something that you're ashamed of that happened. All these little fantasies of your best self and feeling like you're cursed with your worst self. And I think Lisa writes so exquisitely about how much overlap there is of these moments that they're actually a sameness between us.
We're not that special, actually.
Yeah, right.
A lot of us, not in a bad way, but I just mean we're all kind of going through those moments. We all have those moments.
Yes.
But we don't always share them.
Yeah.
Which is damaging.
Yes.
Yeah. So what did you think of Shailene's portrayal of you?
Gosh, I could not be more honored by the fact that, first of all, someone who is such an incredible actor, like the experience alone, the professionalism, the art, all of it, but also just the care and consideration. And, you know, we had talked about it, and Shailene was, you know, I wanted her to create her own, because I wasn't important in the way that, you know, who I am wasn't important. I'm a neurotic, insane mess. That's a whole different show. You know, like that's...
Which, by the way, so aren't a lot of us. It's okay, yeah.
But her, because I think we also have a similarity in our curiosity and care for people, so her humanity just shines through in a way that I just felt honored that she was doing that.
I think it probably shines through better than a lot of actors as well, because you do care about others. You do like to surround yourself with others. You do like to, and you're almost curious about humans. And I think that, and with that natural, empathetic thing that you kind of have. Not everybody has that gift. Yeah. It's so awesome. So once again, the series and the book are called 3 Women. You can see the series on Starz, and you can find the book wherever books are sold.